Well, good morning, everyone. Today, I'm joined by Paul Almeida, Dean and William R. Berkeley Chair at our McDonough School of Business. And Paul, thank you for taking this time to be with us for this conversation. You have been an invaluable member of our community since you joined us in 1995. Can you talk about your time in our community and how that shapes your work as Dean at MSB?
Thank you, President DeJoya. Thank you for inviting me to talk with you and our community. Right up front, I think you hit on the right word, community. If I go back 25 years when I was interviewing for a faculty position over here, Georgetown was, I think, my 9th out of 10 interviews. And faculty interviews are these long, as you well know, elaborate processes, and most schools try to make you feel uncomfortable. And so Georgetown was the 9th. I was pretty tired. It was the middle of the winter. And I noticed something very different from all the other schools I'd been to. And one was they talked to me about student learning and teaching. And I realized suddenly that none of the other schools, and these were all major schools, had even really talked to me about how I related to students or how much I cared. And the second thing that really came out was this emphasis on community. And I said, oh, Georgetown has really good PR. And then I realized it wasn't PR. People really believed, in kind of looking after one another, supporting one another. And if I look back, I think it's both something that I value the most and something that has allowed us to be successful. And it's the students, it's the faculty, it's the staff, but it's also the alumni. And I'll give you an example. During COVID, we were worried about job placements for our students. So we reached out to our alumni. And I think internships and jobs combined, we got nearly 50 students placed, through this process. We call it Hoyas Helping Hoyas. We just reached out to our alumni. And this is just one. Of course, they're teaching in our classes, they're mentoring. Our faculty have volunteered to teach first years, to mentor all our first year students. So any first year student who wants a faculty mentor, in addition to their dean, can volunteer. I've got a couple myself. So if I had to say what characterizes these 25 years, and I feel old at Georgetown, it's the sense of community, and through community, we can do really cool things.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, recently we had an opportunity to hear from one of your colleagues, Joel Hellman, the Dean of our School of Foreign Service. And he spoke about the joint program of our McDonough School of Business and the School of Foreign Service, a Bachelor of Science in Business and Global Affairs. Can you offer your perspectives on this interdisciplinary effort and its resonance with the global elements of the mission of MSB?
Yeah, so this is one of the best parts of being dean. You get to work with, of course, the university, the provost, but with our colleagues, faculty, and students to do cool things. And I think this is one of the coolest things I've been involved in at Georgetown. So it's great to be collaborating with the School of Foreign Service. It's been a very productive partnership. I've been here 25 years, and I've interacted with them a lot, but I really believe I've got to know, and I think my colleagues will say the same thing, other professors, other students, other administrators in the School of Foreign Service through this. So I think one great advantage is it's integrated us, it's brought us together. What I really like about this program is it plays to our strengths. We've always been a global university, but this takes this to the next level by saying, guess what? International business is great, and international relations are great, but when they come together, they give us such power of understanding, of such action. And, that's one of the wonderful reasons for doing this program is we can allow our students really to, as you say, and as Provost Gross says, to tackle some of the world's biggest problems in real ways and make a difference. And a second thing I really like about this program is it's innovative. So our professors, as you know, not only co-develop each course, they co-teach the course. And we know as professors, our views don't always align with another professor. And that makes the class even richer, getting different perspectives. And the students from the first years have told me that's what they love the most, this interaction, this interplay. And, lastly, I think it takes global to the next level. Of course, when after COVID, when we get back, I hope our students will be able to do some of the beautiful things we've designed for them, like follow the value chain of a multinational across several different countries and understand what this really means in terms of local politics or employment, and yet the global issues. I took many years to learn that. I think our students are going to be learning that in a few weeks by just experiencing that. So I'm just grateful, really, to be a small part of this program.
Thank you. Now, can you talk about the ways that our business school helps to bring alive our Catholic and Jesuit values? How do you see our identity shaping the work of the school?
One of the greatest strengths for us as a business school is that we're a part of a Jesuit institution. Otherwise, there are lots of good business schools, but the idea of serving the common good, which is so heavily embedded in Jesuit history, it's not only right. It's for business students and faculty. It's motivating, and it actually gives us a competitive advantage. And so this is a good time. So many of our undergrads, you've been involved with undergrads long before me. But something that struck me in the last few years is when you say, what do you want from your education? They want to do well for themselves and they want to do well for the world. And maybe that was always true and I didn't hear it, but I hear it so strongly now. So this is a great time to be a Jesuit business school, Uh, Jack, as you know, years ago, through your efforts, you helped us launch the Executive Masters in Leadership for DC Public School Principals. I think that's such a great example of how business processes and approaches and mindsets can be applied to leaders of important institutions who are really serving the common good in sometimes challenging circumstances. And I love that opportunity. As you also know, we've had an opportunity to help the Vatican, to help the Jesuit Curia. And in doing so, I feel we've learned so much as well. For instance, I always thought of leadership teaching in a certain way. And what I've learned from the Jesuit Curia is the merging of the spiritual with Jesuit leadership principles can lead to really great and wonderful experiences that I didn't even fully appreciate even 4 years ago or 5 years ago. So this has been great. We're trying to take it further to make sure that every one of our students, faculty, and staff have an opportunity, not just to understand the mindset of what it is to be a Jesuit business school, but to be able to take it to action, to be able to play it out through projects and exposure. So it's a journey. We've taken a few steps. I think we have many more steps to take.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, one area that the McDonough School of Business has focused on in recent years is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the entrepreneurship opportunities that have emerged at MSB?
Jack, I'm not sure if you remember, and I might be misquoting you slightly, but at the new student convocation last year, you looked out at these 18-year-olds and said, I don't know if you said many of you or most of you will live to be over 100. I sat up and said, wow. And, that means they're probably going to work into their 80s. They're going to have several jobs and several careers. And when we think how much the world has changed in the last few months or last few years, just think of how much it's going to change in the next 60, 70 years that students we're teaching now are going to experience. And so the idea of entrepreneurship, not in terms of just starting up new businesses or organizations, but the idea of entrepreneurship as being about learning to move with dynamics, learning to look at risk differently, learning to adjust to change, learning to embrace what's happening in the environment so that we can actually move ourselves and organizations forward. I think for me, that has to be central, an important part, not just of the business school education, but hopefully for every student at Georgetown should have that opportunity to learn to be comfortable to live in a changing environment. So I'm really pleased that we're home to the Georgetown Entrepreneurship Initiative. I love attending the Bark Tanks, the pitch competitions. I'm very grateful to the Leonsis family for the venture lab that we have, so that even as alumni, people can continue to build good stuff. And I hope we can make this opportunity to study entrepreneurship in terms of who I am and how do I engage with the world. I hope we can make this available to more and more students throughout Georgetown, really.
And one particular project that has had a focus on entrepreneurship is our Pivot program.
Yeah.
And MSB has worked closely with our Prisons and Justice Initiative in developing this work. Can you talk a little bit about the Pivot program and the contributions of our business school to this work?
Yeah, I'm very proud that we're home to the Pivot program. In fact, if you ask me one thing I'm proud of, it's this. And I've not done, really, I can take zero credit. Professor Rivoli and the team working with Mark Howard have done a wonderful job. But I think the reason I'm so proud of it is I've always believed that business can and must be not just about solving economic problems, but it has to be the tool to serve social good, and the Pivot program, I think, exemplifies that. The idea of educating returning prisoners in liberal arts and business and entrepreneurship, providing them internships, helping them get jobs. I'm not sure if you know this, President DeJoy, we're entering our third year, and not one of our fellows has returned to prison. That speaks again to not to anything I've done, but Pietro Rivoli, Mark Howard, and the team for doing an incredible job. And something else I'm extra proud of as well. I think we grow through this. We learn more about what our community really is, what the world's problems really are. We see opportunities. And the more students, the more faculty, the more staff that can be involved in this or similar programs in the future, I really believe we're going to be a richer school and a richer university because of this. So I'm very grateful just to play a tiny, tiny role in this program.
Wow. We're grateful to you for your leadership of our school, and I'm grateful that we were able to have this time together this morning. In closing, is there a message you'd like to leave with the members of our community?
Yeah, mostly what I've said, that I think I'm just grateful to be a part of a community that's not perfect, but it truly cares about doing the right thing by our students, by our faculty, by our staff, and by the world. And so, so it doesn't matter if things get a little worse or a little better at times, you're heading in the right direction. You're serving an organization with soul. And I personally am just grateful for that.
Well, we're grateful to you for your leadership and your presence here for now more than a quarter century. It's a privilege to have the opportunity to work together with you, Paul.
Thanks.
So thank you for being with us today, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to share the reflections of one of the leaders of our university community, Dean Paul Almeida of the McDonough School of Business. It's been wonderful to have this time together with you all. I look forward to being with you again soon. Take care of yourselves and take care of everyone around you. For every Hoya, everywhere.